Hello. Dobar večer. Bi začeli z dogodkom. Moja vloga danes bo tukaj, da bom med posameznimi nastopajočimi povezoval ta dogodek in poskrbel, da bo to teklo čim bolj gladko, oziroma tako, kot se bo izpredili, če se bo teklo same dogodka. Ker imamo tukaj goste iz Avstrije in nekaj tujcev, ki ne govorijo slovensko, bomo ta event naredili kar v angleščini. Razen, če imamo koga angleščino ne razume. Yeah. Is there anybody who doesn't understand English? So we don't have a person like that. If we don't, then English is the common language, and so we'll continue with English. We will start with introduction to Bitcoin, which will be a presentation by Matija Mazi, and he will systematically explain what Bitcoin is and talk a bit about the innovations and that Bitcoin brings. He will point out also associated risks that come with Bitcoin and put that in context of the use of usage of the Bitcoin. Then we have our guests from Austria, from Coin Association. Stefan will shortly present the Coin Association, and then we'll move on with Ida, who will talk about the latest news about surviving on Bitcoin, which was presented on CNN not so long ago, and we'll hear some of the comments, and I hope to hear some local context as well. This will be followed by a presentation of 3 startups, Kashira, Picnic, and Konya. And after that, we will have a panel discussion where we will discuss how to live without a bank account, but with Bitcoin instead. And after that, we have a networking, so as long as you want to hang around and talk, we'll be here. So with that, I would ask Matija, and please.
Thank you. So we're a bit late, so let's start. My name is Matija Mazi, and I'll tell you, this is an introduction to Bitcoin. So let's see here, who has never owned Bitcoin? Who of you? Okay, just a few. So most people own Bitcoin. Okay. So we don't need too many details. Okay, so what is Bitcoin? You've seen those images, right? One is like a coin and the other is a network. And you'll see that this is how people usually imagine Bitcoin, but actually it is more like this, right? They're not one single coin, but Bitcoin is actually a network for payments. Bitcoin is open internet money. It works as like sending cash via email, right? So that's just what it is basically. And it's a peer-to-peer system. There's no central authority. So that's kind of like gold or money. Unlike, let's say, traditional fiat currencies. And it's open and free and transparent, which means anybody can use it anytime. One thing I'd like to also stress in this talk is that the innovation that it brings. It's what people call Bitcoin sometimes is programmable money. One thing you hear also in this context is smart contracts. So I'll try to show you what this is, what this means, and how this can be used. How can you look at Bitcoin? You can see Bitcoin as 3 things. One is a currency. So it's a currency like euros or dollars, and the exchange rate is determined by the market. But you can also look at Bitcoin as a payment network. So this means that people can send money to each other via this network. And it's open for anyone. Anyone can just can participate. And you can also look at Bitcoin as a technology that it's not owned by anybody. So it's not. It's been created by some people, but it's not owned by anybody, right? Unlike the currencies that we know before Bitcoin. So how it works basically, the things that happen in Bitcoin are just transactions. And transactions is simply a transfer of some amount of Bitcoins from one address to another address. So you can see this is a screenshot from the wallet to transfer Bitcoins within the wallet, and you can see here 4 transactions, for example. So this is my wallet, and I can send money, receive money, and send money. What's a wallet? What's an application that you install on your mobile phone or on your computer. So you don't need any registration, anything, you just install it. And then you're ready to use it. You just have to receive some Bitcoins from somewhere, and then you can send them to other places. And once you install a Bitcoin wallet, you become part of the network, the Bitcoin network, which looks kind of like this. So their computers, each is connected to some others, and altogether they create a network. There's no, and all are the same. So how to get Bitcoins? You can find an ad. So people will post ads on specialized or non-specialized places for selling stuff. So you find someone there who's local, and call them, contact them, give them money, and they give you Bitcoins. Another possibility is an exchange. So these are specialized companies who provide marketplaces for people who want to trade Bitcoins. So you send, let's say, fiat money to their bank account, and then you trade Bitcoins and so on. You can also withdraw fiat money from there. A third option is a Bitcoin teller machine. You have one there, so you can check, you can try it out yourself. So it's like buying coffee from a machine. You put money in, you get Bitcoins out. Another way to get Bitcoins is to sell products or services for Bitcoins. Like you can sell products and services for any other kind of money, you can sell them for Bitcoins as well. This works very well on the internet, for example. And the last option that I have here for getting Bitcoins is by mining. So you can also mine Bitcoins. This means you buy this kind of hardware, for example, plug it in, connect it to the internet, and it will create Bitcoins. We'll talk a bit more about this. So what can you compare Bitcoin to? Bitcoin is a means of payment, like euros, banknotes, like SEPA. This is the Euro transfer network. Like PayPal, that's also a means of payment, or Visa. But you can also compare Bitcoin to other investments. Some people also use Bitcoin as an investment, like gold, for example, or foreign currencies, or stocks, right? So these are things that you can buy to keep the value that you have for the future. And Bitcoin is an alternative to this. As a technology, you can compare Bitcoin to perhaps email, because it's a means of communication from people to people or to the internet. People often compare Bitcoin to the internet, so they say how internet transformed communications 20 years ago. Bitcoin has the potential to transform the internet of money or payments in the future. But basically, Bitcoin is a ownership record-keeping technology. It's a ledger that records who owns what, right? It's used right now just for recording who owns which Bitcoins, but it could also be used for recording other things, like stocks or other kinds of money or land or something. Now, what Bitcoin brings is no transaction fees. So I think currently, you could actually send Bitcoin for free, but then you're not sure that this will be confirmed quickly. But if you want it confirmed quickly, it's enough to pay a few cents of euro as a transaction fee. So these are quite low compared to, let's say, PayPal or Visa. The transactions are fast. They are borderless, so you can send money quickly all over the world. Doesn't matter where. It works 24/7. Since it's been created, it's always been up. Bitcoin is never down. Why? That's precisely decentralized nature. For Bitcoin to work, it's enough that some people are right now using Bitcoin, running their wallets, and that's always on. Right? There's no single server that could, crash or be hacked or whatever. There are just thousands of people who are using Bitcoin, and if some of those people still use Bitcoin, then Bitcoin is working. So whenever you have access to the internet, you have access to Bitcoin. And Bitcoin gives the user complete control over one's money. This means that perhaps this is at first difficult to understand, but the thing is, if you keep your money at a bank, then actually they're the ones that control your money. If you use Visa for payments, then actually it's Visa who authorizes your payments. It's not you. They can all, or actually every merchant that you ever paid to could authorize payments that you never authorized. With Bitcoins, it's different. It's only you. The owner of the money is the one who has complete control of what is being sent. Bitcoin protects, let's say, merchants from certain kinds of fraud that are possible. Credit cards, for example. It's easily integrated into other information systems. It's transparent in the sense that it's easy to show to other people what transactions you've made in the past, to prove that you made some transactions and to prove that you own some money. But on the other hand, it can also be very private. So it can be used without disclosing your private details like email or even your name. Offers high security and there's a lot of innovation in Bitcoin, as we will see. There are things that are perhaps not impossible, but much harder to do with traditional payment systems. And in particular, traditional payment systems always require some kind of trust, whereas with Bitcoin, this trust, you don't have to trust people to do some kind of monetary transactions. So let's see who today is accepting Bitcoin. Microsoft is one of the probably the biggest name that does. Dell Computers, WordPress, they actually, I think they stopped recently, but they used to. Virgin Galactic, you can buy tickets to space with them, with Bitcoin. Time Magazine, Reddit, and some other names which are maybe more well known in the USA. So I think most of this happened in the last year, so you see the space is growing. There are some other people who take donations in Bitcoin, many more than payments for services and products that we've seen in the previous slide. Many charities take Bitcoin donations, many bloggers do, and perhaps you can see some other names that you know here, like WikiLeaks, Mozilla, Part1, Tor Network, Wikipedia. So let's have a look at some numbers. In Bitcoin, what Bitcoin is recently has been worth about €200. I think it's about 240 today. There are currently 13 million Bitcoins in existence, and there will be 21 million in the year 2030. So the big Bitcoins are still being created in a process called mining, which we'll see later. Now, if you take the current amount of Bitcoins, which is 30 million, and multiply that by this price, total market cap, or total value of all Bitcoins in existence, which is sorry, this is $3 billion, which can be compared to the Macedonian currency, the amount of Macedonian currency. So you can see that Bitcoin is not so small as it used to be anymore. It cannot be compared to, in the value to, let's say, previous currencies, but it can be compared to smaller national currencies. Every 10 minutes, 25 new Bitcoins are created. It's estimated that there are a few million users of Bitcoin worldwide today. For comparison, PayPal has 400 million users. In the network, 1 transaction per second happens, approximately. For comparison, you see that PayPal and Visa process much more transactions in that market. There's a lot of venture capital being invested into Bitcoin startups. I think this number, yeah, it's Perhaps now it's even more, but last year I think these two are $200 or $300 million were invested just last year into startups that that create services on top of it. Several million dollars are traded on Bitcoin exchanges per day, and there are about 300 or more Bitcoin machines worldwide. We have 3 in Milan. One of them is here too. You can get more statistics like this from those sites. So how does it work? We've seen that Bitcoin consists of transactions. So one transaction is basically from one address, an amount of Bitcoin is sent to another address. So Bitcoin is a network for tracking ownership of Bitcoins. Now, what are these addresses? How does this actually work? How can you imagine this in the background? So there, you can imagine a Bitcoin address as a box, as a safe deposit box that contains Bitcoins, money. This deposit box has a label. This is called the address, and it has a lock, and this lock has a key, right? So the person who anyone can deposit money into this box. So these boxes are public. Anyone can throw money in. That means send Bitcoins to this address. But only the key owner, the person who owns this key, can spend this money. This means take it out from this box and deposit it into another box, which is then a Bitcoin transaction. And also the safes are transparent, so there's a lot of transparency in the Bitcoin network. Anyone who knows a Bitcoin address can check this is public information, how much Bitcoins there are on this address. So if you take, so this is what does a transaction look like? You take some Bitcoins in the box. The person who has the key can take some Bitcoins out of this box and send it to another box that is another address. Right? So Bitcoin space, the Bitcoin network is basically a bunch of boxes, like a room full of these transparent boxes. Each contains some money, and each has a lock, and each has a key. And now, let's say you are the owner of the keys to these 3 boxes. And now, what's a Bitcoin wallet? The Bitcoin wallet is actually computer software, computer program, an app on your phone or on your computer that contains these keys. So those keys are hidden from you. You don't have to see them, but the Bitcoin software uses them to sign transactions and send Bitcoins out from these boxes. So a wallet is actually a keychain, a place to store your keys. One thing I'd like to